Hello, and welcome back. Today we're in the CatSkills, heading towards Slide Mountain. It's my first time in the cattails. We're going to explore the botany and moss and whatever we might find and see. Coming into the trail, we have Fagus granifolia, the American beeches. You can see with their kind of speckled bark. Usually beeches are very smooth, like this young one here. This comes from the beech bark disease, which is a fungus. Actually, it comes from sap-sucking insects that injure the bark, and then a fungus that the sap-sucking insect carries basically creates these wounds and eventually girdles and kills the trees. And these are all little stump sprouts, more or less. Basically a reaction to a stunted and stressed tree. So it sends up a bunch of little small ones growing on the bark of what looks to be, it could be a maple, a sugar maple. We have Ulata crispa. It's a little crisp cushion moss, which are pretty common. Right here we have a nice Acer rubrum, or a red maple. And you can just kind of tell because parts of the bark are smooth. And like if it was the other maple, like the sugar, the bark would be a lot more chunky. That's a red maple right there. And you can also tell by more or less the smooth bark towards the top of the branches. And it makes sense where it's grown. Kind of a lowland at the base of a slope. Here we have a tree in the genus Fraxinus, or an ash. You can tell because of its kind of vertically oriented, kind of diagonally, or how would you describe the bark? The bark's kind of like a bunch of trapezoids, and you can also tell it's an ash because it's declining, likely from the ash borer. At the base of it, we have Calcladium holodonatum, with a beautiful branch moss. That's this one right here. And then this little moss right here, that kind of green leafy one, that is a Plagiominium. And typically they kind of curl up like this in the cold. Here I believe we have Acer pennsylvanicum, or the striped maple, or moose maple. It's a kind of more northern species of maple, but I think it's just higher elevation, cooler forest, because you can find it down south too. Big beautiful leaves and kind of yellowy flowers in the spring. It's a nice native small tree. They typically don't get over 20 feet. And they are not present in the woods along the coast of Connecticut and Rhode Island. Here we have a plant in the genus Sambucus. It could be the red-berried elder, but without leaves and more stuff, more identifying features, you can't really tell. The leaves would, really are a telltale sign. But without it, you could maybe try it by the stick, but or twig, or the buds. But I know it's the Sambucus, or an elderberry. And they're typically small shrubs from 5 to 15 feet tall, and they like kind of wet areas. The red-berried elder likes rocky slopes, especially in talus. Here we have a broom moss, or a dicranum. These are common, but it's cool to see in a different area. Dicranum moss. It's growing on at the base of this maple. Or is it a birch? No, it's a maple. Here we have a Acer saccharinum with a sugar maple. And you can tell from the red maple it has much different bark. A lot more kind of chonky. And it can flake off like this. And you can also tell by the shape of the leaves. And almost a form. But they are pretty similar when it comes to form. So here we got Viburnum lantanoides, or the hobblebush. These are this little broccoli-looking thing. It's going to be like this flat umbel that's going to be about this wide, of these beautiful white flowers, and it'll have several of them along the branches here. And then when the leaves unfurl, they're these big, beautiful, bright green, round, kind of spade-shaped flowers. It's a nice shrub, almost a subtree. They probably get up to 10 feet tall, and they're typical more in northern latitudes or higher elevations. You can see this one actually has some kind of either insect or fungus affecting it. Isn't that weird? Here we got Tussoga canadensis, the eastern hemlock. We have Betula allegensis, the yellow birch. Got another yellow birch here. Various American beech. I think I saw ferns under here, but it's kind of hard to tell beneath all the snow. Oh, look, there's some Hupersia lucidula. Nice. That's what this is. It's a little lycopod. Lycophyte. Isn't that nice? It's a club moss, or a distant relative of one. It's also known as shining fir moss, and it's here and there in the understory of these little hemlocks. Hupersia lucidula, common in the deep shade. Here we have Epiphagus virginiana, the parasitic plant that parasitizes beech trees, like this one. It's in the broomrape family, and it blooms in September. And these are like kind of pinkish purple, flesh colored, like, I don't know, bilaterally symmetrical flowers. They're pretty cool. They're common, and they like the beeches. Here's a good example of why they call the yellow birch, because it's yellow. And on the bark here, we got Fruliana, or New York scalewort. Isn't that nice? It's a little liverwort. And I typically only see it growing on trees, and right next to it, we have Ulata crispa, the peely bark. You can use this as fire starter if you're in a pinch. It's cool stuff.